Hello, my name is Charlie Russell, and I love NextGen and Creative Arts Ministry. As an Enneagram 4, I love having the opportunity to worship God through creativity. My experience in creative arts ministry has given me skills in photography, videography, and along with that comes Lightroom, Photoshop, After Effects. It's also given me experience in DAW software, sound engineering, and of course, presentation tools. And I've had experience as a worship pastor and a graphic designer and videographer, photographer, and in marketing. But I also have a really big passion for teaching. Now, for most people in ministry, that passion naturally translates into preaching, but I have a real passion for teaching and training volunteers. My first experience in leading a ministry was when I was in high school and my youth pastor asked me if I could start leading worship for our youth group. It started out with just me and a guitar, but very quickly there were students that came to me and said, "Hey, I would really like to join a worship band and help you start a worship band for youth group, but I'm still pretty new in my instrument." And some of them had challenges where they had parents that weren't able to take them to church. And so I was 16 at the time, and my dad had given me this 87 Volvo that he had had since I was little. And I drove around in my 87 Volvo that felt like a tank. I'd pick up those kids and I'd take them to church early. We'd have rehearsal. And every week I'd have to try to teach them their instrument so that they could learn how to play the song. But we got better every week. They got a little bit better until pretty soon we had a pretty strong and solid worship team. Occasionally, they would even ask our youth worship team to join them on Sunday mornings in adult service to do a new song that the adult worship band had been struggling with. My very first full-time paid ministry was right out of college. I got hired to be a worship pastor at this church right in the suburbs outside of Chicago that averaged about 300 people a week. We had a small, shy team of about 8 people, but within less than a year, I'd helped that to grow into a solid, strong 20-person worship team. My next ministry was at a larger church closer to the heart of Chicago that was about to open multiple campuses. When they hired me, they had been paying for professional photography and a little bit of professional videography as well for events, for some of their weekend services. And when they would do a testimony video, they always paid to have that done professionally. But they knew as they were launching other campuses and such especially, that they needed a group of creative volunteers to be able to help them regularly with photos and videos and such. I was able to help them recruit and train their very first group of creative volunteers to help them with those things. And I have no problem saying they really quickly became much better than I was at photography and videos. I was learning from them even as time went on. But I was able to leave that ministry on good terms because I had replaced myself and they were able to move on without me, without having to skip a beat. And I even helped to train my successor as well. My favorite thing that I am doing in this current season of ministry is recruiting and training volunteers. For the last several months, most of my focus in that has been in recruiting and training NextGen worship volunteers. We've got a great group of students that are regularly helping us in worship, in tech, in our children's ministry, and in our student ministry. And I'm so glad that we've been able to give these kids roles and ministry opportunities that are similar to the same ones that I had when I was in high school. Now, most of that experience was in the creative arts field. Not that I never spent time in NextGen. Obviously, my first experience in ministry was in NextGen, and my first full-time ministry job was actually worship/youth pastor. And the job I had after that, of course, I spent a lot of time leading worship and youth group, helping them with the social media marketing, helping them with photos and videos of youth group. But you can see how teaching really helped fuel my fire for those ministries. And the more time that I've spent in NextGen, the more I've really fallen in love with teaching these kids and these students. Their minds are just like sponges that soak everything up. You don't go home wondering, oh, I wonder if that fell on deaf ears. But I think also as a parent, I've really gained an extra appreciation for NextGen ministry, because just like how I want for both of my daughters, I'm excited to be able to help these kids, these teenagers in their most formative time, to be able to help them build a solid foundation on Jesus and God's Word. A new area for me that I'd really like to grow in, really like to get more experience in, is training Bible teachers. I really love preaching, but I also really love training and developing volunteers. And in NextGen, we bear an awesome and challenging responsibility to teach the Bible to these children and these teenagers. And I would love the chance to be able to help develop and train the teachers that we have in NextGen. An area that I know I need to improve in is in training trainers. Most of my experience in ministry, I've been able to replace myself, but I wasn't able to replace myself with somebody who could replace themselves. And I'd often be disappointed because even though when I left, it was able to stay at the same level, oftentimes that didn't continue. Now that my 30th birthday is coming up, I know that I need to grow in the area of replacing myself with people who can replace themselves, and in training people to replace themselves. While I'm always open to wherever God leads, if I had to choose the next job description for me, it would probably be NextGen worship pastor, or NextGen campus pastor, or NextGen creative arts pastor.